So what is a sequential kick? A sequential kick is when two or more kicks are fired after the initial launch. In other words, after your leg leaves the ground to fire a kick. It's also known as a shadowless kick, which quite honestly sounds way cooler than sequential kick. But sequential kick is something that's more descriptive and more appropriate for what we're trying to do. So in other words, if I throw a kick, land, or tap the ground and throw another kick, that's two different kicks. What a sequential kick is instead is me throwing a kick and then throwing another kick before my foot hits the ground. So the idea behind it is that you're trying to stop someone to counter time your move. So a lot of counter fighters are going to evade, block, or dodge your first kick, or maybe it lands ineffectively, and then they're moving into their counter, to counter fire, to counter kick, to counter strike, to grapple, to trap, any of those things. So behind the intent of a sequential kick is to time the kick when they're moving in so they run into the second kick, or third, or fourth, or fifth, etc., etc. So there's no limit to what a sequential kick can do. If we typically throw the same kick twice, we usually generally call it a double kick. So if I throw the lead front and then the lead front again, that's considered a double kick, but it's still a sequential kick. I can also throw it at different ranges or different heights. Doesn't really matter. But the idea behind it is to basically catch somebody as they're coming in to stop, to basically counter fight you, okay? After you start sparring and start doing either light or full contact, when your opponent starts running into the second or third kick a few times, they start slowing down their aggressiveness to charging in after they see that kick come through. So that's the idea behind it. Now, a lot of people will talk about how the second, third, or whatever kick is a lot weaker than the first kick because obviously you're not generating a full swing. That's generally true for the most part, but the idea behind the sequential kick is the fact that they're moving into you, so you don't have to create as much power as them supplying the power to run into the kick. So if you're throwing the kick, you miss, you hit with little damage or little effectiveness, so to speak, and they start moving in. The second kick is sticking them when they move in. There's also different methods of how kicks generate power. For example, there's swinging motions where if I'm throwing the crescent kick, I'm using an arcing motion or swinging motion. There's thrusting motions. If I'm throwing a side kick or a front thrust kick, I'm thrusting my leg out. Then there's snapping motions where I'm using the snap as part of the method to generate the power for the kick. So the different types of kicks also dictate what types of power you're going to have on the second and third kick. So the idea behind the sequential kicks is that simple. You'll see in the kick examples in my videos that I'm throwing some kicks without landing or touching the ground. The idea behind it is simply to catch somebody as they're moving in to counter time your first kick. So that's the principle of what a sequential or shadowless kick, as it's known in other Kung Fu systems, is all about. Thanks for your time.